is Mike Trelevin with International Risk Consultants. Today joining me is Teresa Garcia, a Vice President at Roanoke Trade Services. Roanoke Trade was established in 1935 and became a member of Munich Re Group, an affiliate of Watkins Underwriters at Lloyd's of London in 2008. Insurance, surety, and risk management solutions for supply chain and transportation intermediaries are Roanoke Trade's focus. Thank you for being with us today, Teresa.
Thank you, Mike.
To start things off, I'd like to ask you a little bit about marine cargo insurance and some of the benefits. Can you kind of give us an overall highlight of the product and the benefits that insureds will see?
Sure, Mike. Well, marine cargo insurance is a specialty type of insurance coverage. It's not for every business. It's basically for those who are moving goods over the rail, on trucks, on the ocean, and in the air. And it's beneficial to those cargo owners because it provides coverage for physical loss or damage from external causes to the goods while they're in transit. And those types of risks aren't normally covered under a standard property policy.
Can you tell us why it's such an important part of the supply chain?
Well, it's important because things happen all the time, every day. Goods can be dropped during loading and unloading. Where I'm from, in Houston, we have truck accidents all the time, so trucks overturn or collide. Goods are stolen off the tarmac, warehouses start on fire, so it's a very important coverage. And it's important for shippers to know that all the intermediaries or transportation companies in the supply chain have limited liability, either on their bills of lading or their tariffs or their warehouse receipts, which means that even if they are able to recover for the goods, it's really nominal amount and it's not going to be comparable usually to the full value of the cargo.
Does any company shipping goods need to obtain this coverage?
No, not all, but the ones that need to obtain the coverage are the ones that would bear a financial loss in the event there is a physical loss. It's in some cases, depending on the contract or the Incoterms, the person securing the insurance will not necessarily be the beneficiary. It's just what's dictated in that contract or the terms of sale that they've selected to sell under. Those would be also other cases where they need to acquire the insurance.
Teresa, how does a company that is moving goods go through the process of obtaining this type of insurance?
That's a good question, Mike. It depends really on the objectives of the shipper. There's a couple of ways they can acquire it through a transportation company, like a freight forwarder, or they can seek the help from an insurance broker. Either way works. Again, it just really depends on what their objectives are. Regardless of what they choose, it's important for them to understand what their coverage is. Ask some questions like, what are my limits? In other words, what's the maximum amount I can put on one conveyance? Are there any exclusions to the policy? When does the coverage begin and end? And what do I do in the event of a claim? Who do I call? Those types of things would be very good questions to ask when they are arranging for the cargo insurance.
What are some of the key points that a prospective insured should be looking at when they're evaluating the purchase of a marine cargo policy?
Well, one thing to consider is that marine cargo insurance is not a regulated line of insurance like your commercial general liability and property policies are. Therefore, the policy forms vary because there is no standard form. So it's very important to determine what is and isn't covered in your policy.
Just this week, I've been seeing the news, and there's been an incident off the coast of New Zealand where a vessel had literally broken in half, and it was a very graphic scene where containers were dropping into the ocean and washing ashore, as well as some fuel spillage. That is something that I would definitely associate with a marine cargo claim.
Absolutely.
Can you tell me about the process? So give me a sense of who's contacting who, what type of process an insured would have to go through, and then from the provider side, what types of things are they looking at as far as working through a claim and hopefully over time paying out for losses?
Well, that is a very dramatic example of why you need cargo insurance, that's for sure. And these are the times when you have a claim is when you really know what your insurance is all about. And hopefully you've done a little bit of work on the backside to where you understand who to contact, because the immediate action is always, whether it's that or any other type of claim, is reporting it, getting the process started. And evidently, first thing you need to do is contact your insurance provider, or in a lot of cases, you get a certificate of insurance, and on the back of the insurance certificate, it gives you step-by-step instructions as to what you're supposed to do. If your provider isn't in the area where you're at, then they have a surveyor that you contact to report the claim and give them the basic details. They will, in fact, work with you to compile all the documents that the insurance company needs to settle the claim, as would your provider if you are located in the same country or area. They would walk you through the process. But right then and there is when you know what you have, when you make that first call. Are they helpful? Are they responsive? Do they understand? And do they treat it with a sense of urgency? Because it's obviously very important to you.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Teresa. I think the information that you provided our audience today is going to be very useful for them when they evaluate the types of needs that they have when it comes to marine cargo insurance.
Thank you so much, Mike, for having me. Really appreciate it.
I hope we can do it again sometime.
Sounds great.
Thank you for joining us for IRC's 6th edition of IRC's Special Series. If you have any additional questions, you can go to www.irc-group.com or Roanoke's website at www.roanoketrade.com. Join us again next time. Thanks for stopping by.